Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you everybody for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed episode number 111 with our friend Brian Parkerson. Definitely a nice, humble guy. You know, I wish him a lot of luck. He's getting his feet wet as a filmmaker, as a podcaster. So let's go ahead and wish him success. Check him out online if you haven't yet. We're back, though, today with a brand new guest, somebody I've been looking forward to interviewing, Mr. Larry Hankin. How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing okay. So far, so good. You know, just trying to stay away from human beings.
Yeah, you know what? We thought we were out of the woods with that. My brother just got it again. Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what we all thought. Mm-hmm. Well, we got to think again, you know. It's got to.
Yeah. That, you know, COVID almost messed me up. I mean, if it didn't mess me up physically enough, it messed me up mentally for sure. But that's a
well, yeah, I think it messed up the whole country mentally. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
we'll see how it goes.
You know, but in a positive light, though, it did give me the opportunity to start this little podcast and you know, interview people like yourself. So that's
great. Yeah, I mean, during the 2 years of the big COVID thing, I wrote a book. So yeah, I got a positive out of it. I had to stay home, so I wrote a book. So it's going to come out I think in October. That's what they're talking about.
And I did want to touch on that because I noticed that, you know, our good friend Stephen Joyner, he's been putting you on a lot of shows, you know, and hooking you up with a lot of podcasters and whatnot. And, you know, people, you know, and not to blow an air up your ass. I know you're you know your career, you know how long you've been doing this, but, you know, people on your level don't usually do the podcasts like you do. You know, it's very rare.
Why is that? Well, is that? I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, I think I haven't done any research on it, but it sounds right. Do you know why that would be?
I have no idea. You know, it's maybe because now everybody has a podcast, right? And
well, yeah, but I think that's great publicity for like me. Mm-hmm. You know, so I would do it. That's why I do it. But well, and also I have a book coming out, so that might, you know, do it more.
And you know, I have maybe, you know, 2,000 listeners a week, which is not much, but it's a little better than some podcasts, right?
It's cool, you know.
And there'll be some weeks where it's like, hey, it's 10,000. It's like, oh, cool, I jumped a bit, you know. But and to me, that's like, you know, that's, you know, ears that you wouldn't have had before. Right.
Yeah, and exactly. That's exactly. Yeah. But it's 2,000 here and 150 there and 3,000 there and 500 there. I mean, it all adds up. I've done hundreds of them. So that's like a lot of people. I have a friend who does it a different way. What he does is he wrote a book. He wrote several books. But what he does is, I live near the beach. So he walks on the beach. That's how I met him. Mm-hmm. He walks on the beach and he has business cards for his book. But he's selling a book. And he just picks out people who are reading books on the beach. Well, a lot of people read books on the beach. So mainly women, by the way. And he hands out cards and he sells a lot of fucking books, man. Oh. That way, just person to person. He just walks up and down. He must walk about, you know, at least 5 miles a day. Easy, up and down the beach. And then if I talk to him in a cafe or, you know, in a Starbucks or something, he'll sit and talk to me, and they'll be handing out business cards as people pass by. I mean, it's just so however you do it, man. You know, I do the podcast. Some people do business cards. You know.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's appreciated. I think you know, I think the only other person I've seen do as many podcasts as you is probably Bruce Valanche.
But he's a funny guy, man.
Oh yeah, he is. He's still got it. I did the interview with him, and I was cracking up. I was like, man, I didn't realize he was so funny, you know.
Oh, he writes well because he doesn't appear by himself. He writes for famous people. Mm-hmm. So I guess he writes, but he's got to be funny if so many people use them.
It's
It's
just so quick on it
amazing.
too. Yeah, yeah, very very quick on it. But yeah, you wrote a book. When's that due? When's it out?
October. It's going to be called That Guy, because everybody knows me by, hey, you're that guy,
Yeah,
man. You're that guy
nice.
in Friends, right? You're that guy. So I thought,
Uh,
well, yeah, I'll make the name of the book That Guy. Yeah.
that's so interesting because that's exactly where I was going. I was actually gonna ask you, like, what's the one role you really identify with, or people identify you with? And I was gonna say there is no one role because you're always, in a bunch of different roles that people say,
Yeah.
I remember you from this, I remember you from that. And that's cool that that's the premise of your book. Is it so is it kind of just chronicling like different roles that you played and telling behind the scenes stories and things like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what it's about. But I mean, the point of it is and the reason I wrote it. It's called That Guy, a cautionary memoir, and the cautionary part is it's about all the roles. Like I did Seinfeld, I did Breaking Bad, I did this, but within that story, which they're kind of interesting and revelatory and funny. But there's a message that says, beware.
Hmm.
You don't know what you're getting into.
Mhm.
I didn't. And so it was a learning experience. And you can kind of see the arc of me waking up to what's going on as I get each part. And I get just a little smarter each time.
Mhm.
Uh, but it's a cautionary tale. I mean, show business isn't all, you know, uh, beer and blowjobs, man. It's a lot of work.
Mhm.
Too much to me. Finally, it just went okay. Too much work. Okay, let's just cool it, man. So I had to step out for a while. Now I'm just slowly coming back in with a book this time. I mean, in other words,
Mhm.
I didn't have anything going for me when I was young and just trying to be an actor.
Mhm.
But as I grew up, and then the COVID hit, after, I don't know, 40, 50 years in the business. And I thought, let me write all this down before I get too senile to remember anything.
Mhm.
So I wrote it all down, and I was wondering, well, what am I writing? I'm just writing stuff. And then when I started to put it in order, I saw, oh man, this is not turning out the way I thought it was. It's just getting harder and
Mhm.
weirder and more. And then I was getting angrier because anger is a result of not understanding. I mean,
Right.
that's what I think. So
Mhm.
as I was getting angrier and angrier, finally I thought, what am I not getting? And it was, the amount of work you have to do to get in front of a camera on a set to have it filmed is fucking amazing, man. I
Mhm.
mean, you got to get an agent, you got to get an audition, you got to go to the audition, you got to rehearse for the audition, you got to get the job, you got to memorize lines, you have to rehearse, you have to put on costumes and try on different things and
Mhm.
drive out to the valley, or you have to fly to Mexico, and then finally you get in front of a camera, and then you have to remember all the lines that you
Uh-huh.
memorize. Yeah, after a while it was just getting a little too complex, a little too
Yeah.
complex, a little too much energy output for the joy.
Uh-huh.
Now, what I learned was I'm not an actor.
Hmm.
I don't have the fire in the belly, man. Now, I was watching an interview with Robert De Niro last night, and he
Mhm.
kind of pinned it. He's, said, well, the interviewer was saying, hey, I wanted to be an actor. He was an interviewer now, and it was a late show. And he said, I used to want to be an actor, but, once I had the job and I did my job and then I was released, um, I was worried about the next job. I was always worried about the next job because
Mhm.
there's so much time in between. And they said, what did De Niro have to go through that? And he said, no. He said, I always He said, you never worried about the next job? He said, no, I just always thought, the next job is going to come. He said, I was always optimistic. And that optimism was what I call fire in the belly. In other words, I always worried. I never wanted to be an actor. I just thought the money was good and people wanted me to be an actor. They would send for, I was an improviser. I was in Second City and the Committee, and I was a stand-up comedian. And I was doing very well. I mean, I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was making enough money to be kind of happy, and I was doing everything that was coming out of my own head. And then it just so I went to Hollywood and became an actor. But I never thought about being an actor. It just, hey, they want me and they're going to pay me $5,000 to do this part. Cool. So I didn't learn how to be an actor. I just did it, and it turned out to be okay. So, but once I was into it, and then they hook you. They hook you by paying you a lot of money, so you get a nice big apartment, you get a girlfriend, and you get a car, and payments, mortgage payments, or rent payments, or car payments, or girlfriend payments. I got a prize, so I had to buy her a dress. I mean, a really nice dress, because it was a nice invitation to a nice party, nice award ceremony. So, there's expenses that I'd never had when I was a stand-up comedian or an improviser. I mean, rent was just what I was getting paid, and I had a little money left over. It was fine. And then if you don't have a job for a while, all of a sudden that $5,000 disappears like that. It's $5,000 for maybe 2 days or a day or a week, whatever it was. But then you don't work for 2 months.
Right.
And that $5,000 goes. So, it's so anyway, that's what the book is about.
Okay.
The trials and tribulations of being an actor and on the set and dealing with the stars and not stars and egos and your own ego and my own anger. That's a separate job.
So in about 3 months, we'll go ahead and we'll plug it again. But I like that. I like that honesty behind it.
That's all I can do, man. That's all I know.
Exactly.
I know. I'm a bad liar, by the way.
I can relate. I'm a terrible liar. I feel so horrible when I lie. You can see it in my face,
Yeah. And then you have to remember all that shit that you made up.
That's the worst part. That's the worst part.
Yeah. Well, that's what's going on now in Washington. They're trying to remember what they said.
You're talking about the was it
the January 6th thing or Washington politics and running for election and making promises and then remembering, well, I didn't, well, blah, blah, blah. Well, the times have changed and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's so it was just too much, so I just cooled it.
Is it? I can't. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't think politics was that big of an identity thing, like 20, 30, 15 years ago, even. Right? Yeah. We didn't identify ourselves as like, well, I'm right wing, I'm left wing. Let's fight.
Well, go ahead.
I mean, I feel like it's much more prevalent now with the whole social media and everything. Everybody they're so diehard Republican, diehard Democrat. It's like like choosing your football team on Sunday morning. It's like I can't believe how deeply they feel this. I'm like, they're all representing us. They should be, a little more. We shouldn't be having to pick them. They should be having to pick us.
Well, back in the day when you were talking about 15 years ago, there wasn't digital. 15 years ago, they didn't have digital, and they had to pay attention to you and shut their own mouths because there was no way to get past you. Now they have digital and the internet, so they don't need you. They're going over your head. They're going to the Vox Populi, this great unwashed, audience out there. So now it behooves them to lie because they can hit a lot of people. If I lie to you and you catch me, it's one-on-one. I'm dead. You got me. And but if I lie and I hit, 500,000 people and 500 catch me, I still got a couple of 100,000 people, man, or if the other way, say 5,000 catch me, I got 500 that I hit that believe me. You do that like me in podcasts. You 500 here, 500 there, 200 here, blah, blah, blah. And you got it, and you're elected, on lies. Back in the day before digital, you couldn't lie as easily. You could lie as well, but it didn't go as far. Now, man, you tell one lie, it goes around the world. They hear that in Uruguay, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Yugoslavia. Yeah. So it's all different now, and nobody has caught up yet. Digital is still way ahead of, thank you, Steve Jobs, and what's in Microsoft. Yeah.
Because it dilutes the truth so much that you don't even know what it is anymore, right?
Right, exactly. Somebody was talking about the other day, man, where we've lost the difference between lies and the truth. It's really hard. Now, kids, they're getting to read body language now. And I see young kids about, they interview them like a mass murder in Uvalde. So they interviewed the kids, young kids who either escaped with their lives or what they did to stay alive while they're in there, how they used their minds to, or young kids who witnessed it on television, and they interviewed those kids. Well, all of those children from about 5 to about 10, after 10, they're adults, man. But 5 to 10 nowadays are way ahead of me at 5 or 10 when I was growing up. I mean, these kids were telling me stuff that were teaching me how to react in, traumatic situations. I mean, they just they're locked in, and they really got to calm down their parents. I mean, it's amazing. Well, I guess that's digital. Here's what I think. I think that if you get enough information, whether it's good or bad, truth or lies, you'll see what the truth is by, I don't know, by the straining, but your mind becomes like a sieve. And it strains out. You got so much information, and these kids are actually concluding that they see the big picture. They may believe this lie or that lie, or maybe they catch that truth or this truth. So yeah, they're mixed up with the immediate reality. You can lie to me now, right now, whether it's digital. But if you keep lying to me all the time, reality just trumps that stuff. Excuse my expression. but reality puts the lie to lies. Reality is just what is, man. You can't. But it takes a lot of input, to, which was really to make it clear, which seems like a wrong thing,
Yeah.
Give me too much, and suddenly the truth becomes obvious. And I think I guess it's that all things have a tipping point, truth and lies. And I think we're getting to the tipping point of lies.
Well, hopefully, because
too much.
I'm pretty tired of these damn lies.
Yeah. I think the inner DNA says exactly that. I mean, that's what keeps life going and evolving. Is okay, too much. Some people, some species, the way they solve that is they just become extinct. In other words, too many lies. I can't. Okay, I'm out. I can't. And I think human beings have either got to get a hold of reality, or we're not going to make it.
I'm just saying. I don't mean to turn everything political, but I think we're just in a crazy age. Like we overturned
political age. Yeah, it's
overturned
all political, everything.
Overturned Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. I mean, No, they just the Biden, who nobody likes. I mean, he just has no charisma.
Right.
You know, at least Trump was lying, but he had so much charisma that
Well, he's
he
a
just punched right
WWE
through.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. But Biden was saying that. Okay, so a young girl, young little girl, 10 years old, was raped by a rapist. You know, an adult, and she got pregnant. 10. And the Supreme Court says, no, she has to have the baby. What the fuck? Are you serious?
I don't get that at all.
What? I mean, we've lost, the Supreme Court are trapped in this bullshit what the heck is, but there you go, you know. So we haven't reached the tipping point yet.
Those are the brightest minds that we trust.
No, they're not. That's the big lie. They're not the be all and end all of intelligence, but that's what we think. Oh, it's the Supreme Court. I mean, Diana Ross has much right to say she's a supreme as a justice is. I mean, and a court has a question mark next to it. I mean, that's not justice.
Well, it's
bullshit.
This idiot Clarence Thomas is after this whole thing with the abortion. You know, he's talking about trying to take away contraception for married couples. So it's like,
what the fuck, man?
So I mean, do you just want every time a married couple has sex, they have a new child, or what's going on with that?
Yeah. And the next thing they're going to go after is, and as I think Thomas said this, he's going to go after same-sex marriage, right? And what about the next thing? Judge Thomas, what about mixed marriages? You're going to go after that too? I'd like to, oh man. Well, exactly. Don't get me started on politics. But we are in the politics age. This is the age of politics.
Yeah.
The age of politics and lies, you know, get elected. Well, you know, I hope we can get through it, and I hope there's enough lies so finally reality says, hey, enough. You know, reality has a way of just like topping everything. You know, the expectations is the Achilles heel of Homo sapiens. Expectations. And, you know, we expect the Supreme Court to be supreme in intelligence. No, that's a misnomer. They're not supreme. They're human beings who made a bad call. And now it's a law. They made a mistake. They made a mistake. It's law.
And clearly they're puppets. You know, I'm so flabbergasted at how easy it is to really control them, you know, given that they're in such a highly respected position, you know, and what they say, I mean, affects so many lives. I'm just like, they're puppets. It's very clear.
Yeah. But well, you know, but then so all we can do, it's really funny. We've hit United States citizens have hit the glass ceiling. You know, they talk about the glass ceiling of women, you know, they don't get paid. Well, Homo sapiens have hit the glass ceiling of the law. All we are allowed to do down here is complain and bitch. And we can't change the law. We can't change the Supreme Court. We can't get through the lies. So we're locked with, you know, Facebook bullshit and social media bullshit. But all we're doing is arguing over bullshit. Somebody come up and say, change it. Stop. You know, but we can't get through. It's like the women's glass ceiling. More pay, more truth. No, it's a glass ceiling. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, we know the truth up here, and we're lying about it. I don't, you know, after a while, I just gave up on Facebook. I said what I had to say, kind of stuff that we're talking about now. And then I just, you know, I said, okay, that's it. Now everybody go at it. I'm out. Like I'm not acting. I'm out.
But you know what's so crazy? People will still try to hang you after that, you know?
They still what?
They'll try to hang you after that. They'll try to find a way to, you know,
See, so
drag
yeah,
your name
right.
through the mud. That and
Exactly.
Twitter, on Facebook and Twitter, right? They'll find a way to try to cancel you or try to find, you know, things that you did in the past and be like, look, he's not a good guy at all. Like they do that to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, but what can you do about it? See, everybody complains. You just complained. I just complained. But nobody's doing anything about it. They are complaining. And that's what the venting. It's not complaining, it's venting.
Yeah.
And social media is, I guess that's the use now of social media, is the place where you vent. But no solutions are there. Nothing is solved there. It's either you're right or left or out of it or too far into it, or you don't know what you're talking about. But nobody says, yeah, well, could we try this? In other words, it's either yes or no. There's no, what about solving? No. It's either yes, or no, or wrong, or right. But no solve. So it's all a waste of energy. The United States is just wasting all this time and energy. Boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we're on the moon. Hey, we're on the moon. Isn't that cool? We got 4 guys, I think. Well, no, two guys actually walked on the moon. So, forget everything else. We're on the moon.
Yeah,
we're going to Mars.
And start taking vacations there and everything. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, in about 500 years, if we make it that far, we'll have maybe 10 or 20 people on the moon. Whoa.
Nobody will be able to afford it, but it's all right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, millionaires will be living on the moon, and millionaires and scientists. Cool, So let's talk about show business.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's a lot of good stuff there, so I didn't want to cut you off. I always like to let the podcast go where it goes, right? And I'm like,
Well, let's get back to show business.
But I do want to sprinkle in, some of the show business stuff there, and I'm going to make you do a real quick guess here, right? Okay. You're that guy from somewhere, from some show. Where do I remember you first from?
Is this a test? Are you testing me?
I'm a 90s kid. I'm a 90s kid.
Okay, well, I'll give you, easy. Well, it's one of two, okay? So my first guess would be, it has to be Mr. Heckles, and the next one would be Tom Pepper, Kramer.
Neither one. I've never seen Friends or is that Seinfeld? I've never seen.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay. Well, then the next thing would be Old Joe, but that's not 90s. That's later.
Home Improvement.
Whoa, Home Improvement.
You were the Halloween special effects guy?
Yeah, and you know what? I haven't seen it since the 90s. I mean, I watched the show when it came on, and I didn't like what I did, so I never watched it again, and I never thought about it. And every once in a while, somebody like you comes along and say, hey, Home Improvement, the Halloween show. So I don't know why you would remember that, because for some reason I didn't like what I did. I don't know what I did. I remember I knocked on the door. I came in. I was dressed in black. I was kind of, I don't. So I don't.
Something about it just really stood out. I don't know what it was, but I thought it was a very good Halloween episode. Every TV show has their Halloween episode. Yeah. I just thought it was a very good Halloween episode. They finally got the kids. They pranked them really well. They thought they were in danger and everything. And, you didn't have to do much. You just kind of came out looking like the Undertaker,
Right. It looked like an Undertaker. Right. Yeah. Well, maybe that was it. See, what a lot of people say, and you just did too, is they say, well, it's really weird because you've been in a lot of things, and a lot of things were really actually small little cameo parts and not like big, over the arc of the whole show. And yet you stand out in these little parts, and that's really weird. And I have to agree that, people know me for that guy because I kind of stand out, but I don't know what I'm doing that makes me do that or that makes it happen. I just go in and do my job and go home. So I don't know Is that charisma? Is that it's nothing that I'm consciously aware of or doing. I'm just memorizing my lines and acting, with everybody else.
I don't know either. I mean, it's just I thought it was well done. I know
Yeah.
you maybe might not have liked it or enjoyed it as much, but I thought it was well done. I was like, whoa, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I think no. See, the difference is that when I go there and I act, I'm having fun. I'm saying my lines. There's a camera here, so what I'm doing is being recorded, and there's other people. So it's a community thing, like improv. I'm either improv or stand up. Stand up, you're just doing your own stuff, so you see what you think and how it makes people laugh. Mm-hmm. And in improv, it's a group effort that you cannot stand out in a scene. You would ruin the improv. You've got to be. So when I'm acting, it's kind of like a group thing. So it's like playing music. You're just in it. And then I go home and I get a check, and great. But then when it goes on, I have nothing to do with that. I wasn't in the editing room. I didn't pick the right shot. And then people say, "Hey, I saw you in it. You were great." And I go, "Oh, that's like a thing afterwards. I didn't know I was great. I didn't know I wasn't trying to be great. I was just being part of the group."
Yeah, like something that I saw you in recently, and you were only on very briefly. Like I'm talking about maybe a couple minutes. And I was surprised to see you in it because I was like, "Is that Larry Hankin?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess it is." Barry, the show Barry.
Barry, yeah, Stovka. Yeah, see, like that, man. Okay, now that happened right on the set, man. I really admire Bill Hader so much that I really wanted to do a good job for him. He was directing, he was part of the writer, he's the star of the show. But I've been following him for years in Saturday Night Live, and I really respect him as an actor, something that I am not. So when I got the job, I really wanted to do a good job. I mean, so I did a backstory on the character, and I really studied hard, like I was an actor. Like I really meant it. And so I got it. And then they asked me on the phone. They called, one of the producers called and said, "Hey, can you do a Russian accent?" And this was after I was hired. Mm-hmm. He said, "Can you do a Russian accent?" And I go, "Yes." You always say yes. But I didn't, the only Russian accent I know is my improv comedy Russian accent. Yeah, da, da, that kind of. So, but I said yes, but they said, and then they said, "Would you mind if we had a dialect coach on the set to help you?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be great," because literally I didn't have a Russian accent. So I thought that was a really cool thing, and I didn't ask for it. They volunteered. So I said, "Yes, that would be great. Thank you." Okay, so they hang up and show up on the set. And all the time with my backstory and, thinking about he's a hitman and he's got a wife and kids and blah, blah, blah. And I'm also trying to memorize the lines and get it down because I'm dyslexic and I have a hard time with lines. So I'm really into it. I get on the set, and the first thing I want to see is the dialogue coach. I got to see the dialogue coach. I got to get this down. How long do I have? You only got an hour before you shoot. Oh my God, I got to. So I'm starting to ask around, and I can't find him. They say, "I don't know. I don't know if it's a he or a him or what." And then the AD comes up and he says, "Okay, you're up." And I go, "Oh my God, I don't have an accent." And I go, "Oh, what do I do?" I'm here. I've been studying and stuff, and it's Bill Hader. I don't mind if it was maybe somebody else, anybody else, but Bill Hader. I got to do it good for him. So I just go on and I do my, comedy improv Russian accent, ya da ba ba. And Bill Hader doesn't say anything. I do one take, okay, action cut. He goes, okay, let's do another one. Okay, blah, blah. Okay, moving on. But he never speaks to me. He gives maybe little, directions to one of the other actor in the scene, and then the two actors who were bringing me in. I was going to kill this guy. They brought me into a room to kill this guy.
Right.
And he's still not talking to me. And I'm dying. He's giving directions to the cameraman. He's giving directions to the actors, to the set, to the lighting. He doesn't talk to me. And I'm going, oh my God, I'm just ruining this.
Mm-hmm.
But he just keeps going, and we're shooting around. And finally, it's all over. And I still haven't found the dialogue coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't spoken to me the entire time. And then it's over. So I think, well, he's not going to use it. I did an awful job. He didn't know what to tell me. I'm beating myself up about my job. And then his writing partner, I don't know his name, he says, hey, Larry, you want to see the scene? We have it. We're going to look on it, in TV Village there. Mm-hmm. So we're going to show it. We only saw the point right after when you were shot, when you killed yourself, So you want to see that, when you die? I go, yeah, because, I want to see at least something that I did. I just to make a judgment. So he showed it to me, and there's this woman sitting there, and I'm watching it. I'm going, and what they're trying to do is get smoke, from the gun that had just been fired. They don't see me shot. You hear me being shot. And you go over and you see me dead, and the gun is smoking. So you understand that it was me. But all they were doing was, as I'm laying there, my dead body, they're just paying attention to the smoke coming out of the barrel of the gun. And I'm just laying there. And in the shot, of course, they're not working on it. You just see the suicide, the smoking gun. And the smoke, by the way, was perfect. They did a good job with this curling up from the gun barrel. So I turned to the woman sitting next to me, and I say, by the way, have you seen the dialogue coach anywhere? Because I'd like to know how my dialogue went. She says, I'm the dialogue coach. And I'm saying, well, where were you? Did you see the scene? And she says, yeah, I watched the whole thing. She said, well, what about my dialogue? She says, your dialogue was a perfect Russian accent. I go, oh, so that was the relief. But what you saw, and you said, hey, is that Larry Hankin? I watched the show 2 weeks, when it was broadcast 2 weeks after we shot it, because I didn't know what I had done. Oh, so then I went, so the point of the whole thing. So I went to Bill Hader. And this is off of, is that Larry Hankin or not? Your statement. I go to, after I talked to her, and she said, no, it's fine. I go to Bill Hader, now I'm dressed in my street clothes. I'm ready to go home. And I say, Bill, can I talk to you for a second? He goes, yeah, sure. What? And he said, did I do okay? I mean, I'd like to ask you a question, and that is why you didn't direct me. He said, why do you want to know? I said, well, because I was drowning out there. I didn't know what I was doing, man. And I just could have used a little help from you, a little direction. But you never spoke to me the whole time. I just wondered why. And he says, Larry, we didn't write it the way you were doing it, and his writing partner was with him. He said, we didn't write it that way. He said, so when you started doing Stovka the way you were doing it, you totally confused me and my writing partner, but it was great. So we didn't know what the hell you were doing, and I didn't know what to tell you to make it better or worse, because I didn't know how to talk to you. You were fine, and every time we photographed you, we filmed you, you did it great. So we just backed off, man. It wasn't that we were ignoring you. We were just leaving you alone and letting you go.
Yes.
So there you go. I don't know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. I'm just in it. And it turns, whatever. And I think that's what De Niro was trying to also say in the interview that,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want from a director? And he goes, I don't want anything, I give him a couple of different looks. What he was saying is, I do it this way, I do it that way, I do it, and then let them pick one out in the editing room. I don't,
Right.
says, I don't know what the editor, and he even says, I don't know what the director wants me to do. I mean, in other words, the directors do direct De Niro. But what De Niro is saying, and I guess this is a cautionary tale for anybody who wants to be an actor, is the director has his own needs to telling the story. And actors shouldn't get involved in what the director is doing. You concentrate on what you have to do.
Mm.
And if he directs you weirdly, or why am I doing this? You don't question it. He's got his needs, what he needs for the story, which is not your business. So that's why De Niro said, so I do that for him. I do this for me. I do that for him. I do it this way. I do it that way. He says, and sometimes I do something that's totally ridiculous that I know is not going to be used. He says, but I'm just giving him choices.
Right.
That's all I'm doing. And everybody thinks, oh, he's, improvising. He's, no, man, I'm just giving him choices, That's it. And he says, and then, you leave it for the guys in the editing room to pick out what's good or bad. So in other words, De Niro was saying, I don't think about all that crap, Larry. All the, am I good? Am I bad? Why am I doing this? No, man, you just, you get the job. And then this is what he said. He said, if you got the job, the director knows what you're going to give him. That's why he hired you. So forget what he needs and what he's telling you. Just do it or not do it. But, I just go in and do my job,
Yeah.
It's
probably the best way.
It took me years to learn that.
Mm-hmm. And I think, it's kind of like a parallel. I told you at the beginning, like, it's kind of, we let the podcast flow where it goes. And that tends to be the more successful route. And, I used to really kind of put a lot of emphasis on writing notes and trying to ask specific questions. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to get to those. I'm just going to have fun with it.
Yeah.
I did want to. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just saying, but the director and the actor should know kind of what you know as an interviewer, after you get rid of all your notes and stuff, you know what the gig is.
Yes, yeah.
The director knows what the gig is. If he hires you, he assumes you know what your gig is. Mm-hmm. Okay, now let's just make a movie.
Now, I want to, you mentioned, what the gig is. I did want to mention, and I'm going to bring this up because I had them on my podcast and I really put them through the ringer over it. They're nice guys, but you were recently on a podcast that I couldn't believe when I watched the YouTube, because they put the YouTube video up of it, how bad they were at interviewing. There were like three guys, right?
The three geeks?
Yeah.
I think it was the Three Geeks. There's only about 2 or 3 shows where there was 3 people. The Three Geeks is one of them, and then
no, I think they had a different name.
Okay.
I forget what it was. Was you hate to hear it or something like that?
Yeah. I wrote it. I remember writing down the name. You hate to something.
You hate to see it,
but whatever it was. Yeah, well, that's the way I go into these things. I leave it up to the interviewer, and I just I know what my gig is. Just talk about whatever I want to or whatever they want to.
So I was really surprised how they started it, right, with dead air, and they're talking to my name is so and so, my name is so and so, and then it's dead air, and they leave it to you, and you're like, well, I guess that makes me Larry. I'm like, come on, guys, you can't even introduce them. And then they tell you, like, oh, can you tell the people about yourself? It's like, are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, but look, it's the same thing, and this is what I'm trying to say with a cautionary tale in my book about making movies or being an actor or any job. There's a learning curve, and there's a way to do it. And I go in and all movies don't have great directors, and all movies don't have great acting mates. So I just go in and, you know, I have no expectations. I don't go in with expectations. I just take what's given, and you just go with it. So in that particular thing, it started with nothing. Okay, this show starts with nothing. You know, fine. This is a nothing show. Okay, cool.
And
Let's do this.
I didn't listen to the whole interview. I could barely get past that.
Right.
Part.
Me too.
I gave I gave him a hard time about it. I'm like, I hope it got better than that. I'm like, I'm telling you,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. So that kind of, if it was great, I would remember, I guess. Or maybe not, you know, maybe. But it's a podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't have any expectations for a podcast. The upside is it's great publicity. The upside is I get to see what I'm thinking, you know, and how do I talk? Am I doing a good job? You know, I watch every once in a while. I'll tune into them. I'll watch them, the ones I do. And I watch me. I'm not watching them. I'm not going to give them notes. I'm giving me notes. I'm watching me and yeah, well, you're talking good, or, you know, what is this? You know, you're just bullshitting and not talking about anything. That's all. But if it's going badly, then it's a learning situation. You know, there's no downside. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That's not what De Niro's saying. No, I was always very positive. I was, you know, always thinking, no, the next job is going to come. So I'm always very positive. If the show, the interview is going down the toilet, then that's what I'm learning. Oh, I see. The next time, and you're in this situation, do something different because this is going down the toilet. You know, so I learn from it. So there's nothing it can't not be bad. I can be bad, you can be bad, but it can't be bad.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's if you're not going to learn if you won't make mistakes. I mean, how the hell you learn if you don't make mistakes? What the fuck is that? Yeah. So, you know.
I did want to jump really quickly back into some other roles that I remember you from, and you know, back before internet was really a thing. You know, you wouldn't really get to look people up and be like, oh yeah, they're in this other movie, they're in this other movie. You kind of just have to piece it together, right? And sometimes, you know, you confuse actors for other actors or whatever.
Right.
But then sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I saw this actor in this show or in this movie. And then I remember you like being a cop in Home Alone, right?
That's one of my favorite roles.
Really? Okay.
Sergeant, and it's just a second because that role is probably the most famous, although people don't bring it up because it's such a short role. Mm-hmm. But every Christmas, that film is shown to families all over the world. So that one, but pardon me, I got to explain something. Mm-hmm. That and Breaking Bad are two roles that I had no control over because it was capturing lightning in a bottle. Mistakes were made that were great, not awful. Mm-hmm. A mistake can go either way. You can make a mistake that's, wow, man, that's so cool, and we filmed it. Or you make a mistake and, Jesus, we got to shoot this again if we can. Mm-hmm. And in both those roles, the mistake went great. Thank you. In Home Alone, they hired me. This is really weird. They hired me because they thought the movie was cursed. This is true, man. The producers of Home Alone thought the movie was cursed. I was hired to replace Daniel, whatever his name is, the co-star with Joe.
Daniel Stern, yeah.
Daniel Stern. Daniel Stern on the third day of shooting. I auditioned for Dan. No, I didn't audition for that. I didn't do anything for that. They started the movie without me. Daniel Stearns on the third day started to argue about money. He wanted more money than he was getting, and he was going to quit. So they called my manager because I had worked for John Hughes, who wrote that movie. I had worked for John Hughes previously. So they called John Hughes and they said, Daniel Stern is going to quit unless we give him more money. And John Hughes wasn't directing, but he was producing. So he had the pocketbook.
Right.
So they're saying, do you want to give Daniel Stern more money or do you want to quit? And if he, or you want to let him quit. And if he quits, who do we replace him with? We're going to have to reshoot his 3 days. So, which is a lot of money. So what do you want to do, John Hughes? And John Hughes says, if he wants to quit, get Larry Hankin. So they called my agent and they said, hey man, Daniel Stern is going to quit Home Alone. And John Hughes wants to get Larry to replace him. Is Larry available? So my agent said, are you available? And I said, you bet. So he said, well, you're going to replace Daniel Stern. So pack your bags. If you're going to replace him, if he quits, they're in negotiation right now. But in that negotiation is going to be Walker talk or stay, Walker stay. They're not going to negotiate with him anymore. So, and they're doing it right now. So in about an hour, we're going to know whether Daniel quit or you don't have a job. Okay. So pack your bags. You're going to have to get on a plane tonight and fly there and start work tomorrow morning, reshooting everything. I go, wow, man. Okay, cool. But it's, working with Joe Pesci. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And Chris Columbus was directing, who's a great director. So I was all stoked. Expectations. So I packed my bag. I'm ready. I'm waiting by the phone. And sure enough, an hour and a half later, they called. My agent calls and says, okay, Daniel Stern folded. He's in the movie. He won't take more money. He won't get more money. It's off. You're not in the movie. Forget it. There are better jobs. There are more jobs, Larry. Click, and they hang up. Well, I was very depressed, man. I mean, blowing the availability of working, the possibility of working with Joe Pesci alone was, just depressed the hell out of me. But it's like any other thing. You leave it behind, you move on. And then in 2 or 3 days, I was, I'd forgotten even that it happened.
Right.
2 weeks later, I get a phone call from my agent saying, hey, man, weirdness has just happened. They want you to be in the movie. The producers of Home Alone feel that the movie is cursed. Things are going very badly in Chicago. That's where they're shooting it. And they believe, get this, they believe that them dicking you around, screwing around with you, calling you and then saying, hey, get ready, and then saying, no, forget it, that's what the curse is about. It's bad karma, man. They think that them screwing you around has cursed the movie, and that's why it's all going down tubes. So they have to have you in the movie. Are you available? And they go, wow, man, they really think it's cursed? That's kind of weird, man.
Yeah.
But okay, I mean, what do they want me to do? Okay, so I'm available. I mean, Daniel Stern's just doing the part, so I don't get it. So he says, well, they'll tell you, they'll call you. So they call me, the producers call me in the next 5 minutes, and they go, well, here's the thing. Yes, we really do believe the movie is cursed, but there's no part, all the parts are cast. I mean, we started the movie, so it's already going. So we can't fire anybody unless we have just cause. So everybody's locked in. There's no, we can't fire you because we're going to hire somebody else because the movie is cursed. That doesn't go. So there's only one part that's available. It's 2 lines. It's Sergeant Balzac. All he says, you want me to go to your house and see if the kid is safe. 1 line. Rose, hyper on 2 lines. He says, those are the 2 lines. He said, but they're willing to pay you. They're willing to fly you first class to Chicago and back. It'll only be a half a day. They'll fly you there in the morning and fly you back in the afternoon. and you'll sleep in your own bed the same day, and they'll pay you $10,000 cash.
Ooh.
You bet. Let's do this. Yeah. What a great thing. 2 lines, $10,000, first class. Great. Okay, there and back, sleep in my own bed. All right. So that's why I was in the movie. Okay, so I get there and, I get in my costume. Oh, and they asked me, that was one thing. They said, yeah, and you're a cop, you're on the phone, you're in a police station. I asked, what's the deal? What am I doing? He says, you're doing nothing. You're on the phone, you're in a police station, you're not walking, you're just sitting on the phone, 2 lines. Maybe you'll do 1 take, maybe 2, and you're back home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, $10,000. Okay, so I show up, I get on, they do the first, it's going to be. So I said, where? Oh, they say, but you can have any prop. What prop do you need? And he goes, I go, well, it's a cop, right? Yeah. And it's in a police station. Yeah. I'm sitting down, right? Yeah. Okay. I want a donut. I want a glazed donut, 1 glazed donut. I want to be eating a donut while I'm on the phone. That's it? Just 1 donut? You can have anything, your hat, any kind of property. I want 1 glazed donut, that's all. Okay, you got it? See you here tomorrow morning. Okay, boom, pack up, fly there. And I get there, I get in my costume, and I go, where's my donut? Like I'm joking around, like, hey, you said I could have a donut. Where's my donut? And they roll in a baker's rolling tray. The ones where they have like 20 trays stacked on wheels. It's filled with glazed donuts. I counted them. There's over 300. It's packed.
Wow.
Yeah. And they roll it in right next to the camera. And I go, what is this? And the producer's laughing. He says, hey, well, we may have to do another take. I go, very funny. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I want to go home. I just wanted to get out of there. I thought this whole thing was bullshit. But I asked him, I said, you really believe that this movie is cursed and I'm here to get the kibosh off of the movie? This is real. That's the real reason I'm here. And they said, yeah. Okay, I just wanted to check. Okay, let's just do this and send me home. So I get in the thing, I'm there, I'm eating my donut, and in the middle of the scene, they go, cut. And he goes, what's going on? And he says, the camera jiggled, we got to do it again. And the producer says, see, we're doing another one. Here's your other donut. We got 299 to go. Okay. Okay, so the truth of it is, we did 10 takes, and each time, something happened mechanically. One time, a light, this big Hollywood big lights up above because we're on a sound stage, exploded from the heat. It was on for so long. It exploded and showered down glass on the whole set, on me, on everything. So we had to shut down for a half hour while a crew cleaned up all the glass. So that was like on the 8th take, and then the 9th take, something else happened, and then somebody laughed or something, and so we had to do it again because it was on the soundtrack. And I'm starting to think, holy cow, this movie is cursed.
And it sounds like it.
They're not kidding around. And I thought, this is impossible. I don't believe in this stuff, but I'm in the middle of it. So I go, okay, let's do it again. So I'm eating 10 glazed donuts every time we have to shoot. And we have to start with a new glazed donuts each time because there's, can't start with a one bitten already, half eaten. Mm-hmm. So on the 11th take, I get, okay, and all right. And I can see that the producers are really nervous. I mean, they think the movie is cursed and we're not going to get this shot and it's going to be like this for the next month, so they're worried. So they go, okay, and action, blah, 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 Rose, da, 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 cut. And I go, we got through it, okay. And the director yells, moving on. And we finally did it. So, no, he says, cut, and then everybody laughed. That was the thing. He yelled cut, and everybody laughed like they were holding it in because you can't laugh while the camera's rolling.
Right.
So they go, the whole crew, everybody. And I go, all right, I screw. And then that was my first thing I said when he yelled cut, and they laughed. They go, oh man, it was me. Now it's this time they're laughing at me. And I was just getting tired. I said, give me another donut. Let's shoot it again. And the director says, no. We're using that. That one is a take. And I'll show you. And I said, no, let's just do it again. I don't want to see me screwing up. And he said, you didn't screw up. Just watch this. So I watched it. And what they showed me was I take a bite and a little piece of the donut sticks to the phone. And I didn't know this, and I'm going on with the thing, and then he yells, cut, blah, blah, blah. And then you can hear everybody laugh after the director yells, cut, off screen. And I go, oh my God, all right, let me just do it again. And he goes, no, man, that's going in a movie. I say, why? I fucked up. He says, no, man, that's called a money shot, Larry. I mean, that's catching lightning in a bottle. There's no way they could have planned that.
Right.
They think, okay, but everybody who watches that movie, and this is millions and millions of people all over the world every Christmas since the 90s, everybody says, how did you do that donut thing on the thing? How did you do that, man? How did they work that out? And they go, man, it's lightning in a bottle. That's just boom. But everybody notices it. I mean, even though, there's stars in it, and Macaulay Culkin is great, and Joe Pesci is great, and Daniel Stearns is even okay, but they go, hey, you're that guy. You're Sergeant Balzac. How do you do that thing? It's weird. So go explain that, man, in all this movie stuff. It's lightning in a bottle. It's like, De Niro says, I give him stuff and let him work it out in the editing room, And the other one was Breaking Bad, in the Breaking Bad scene. I don't know if you watched it. Yeah. But where I'm keeping the cop out of the Winnebago, that long walk and talking scene. I'm just talking legal stuff. I couldn't memorize that speech. That's all improvised. That entire speech, I improvised. And I thought, well, at the end of it, because they didn't tell anybody, they thought I was going to do the speech as written. It's a full page, man. And they gave it to me 2 hours before I shot it. And I'm dyslexic. In other words, I need a week to memorize.
Right.
And they gave it to me. And I said, how much? He says, well, you got 2 hours. I can't do this. I mean, I know I can't do this. I tried. I mean, for 2 hours, I just poured over the fucking thing trying. And then I said, well, I can't do it, And then he goes, you're up. So I go out and I'm trying to think of, I'm going to get fired. So I just fired myself, so that I'd be cool when they do fire me. I wouldn't get angry or anything. I fired myself. I said, okay, but I'm going to improvise. I'm an improviser. I was in Second City. I can do this. So he goes, I say, look, can we just break this up? Shot to you, shot to me. So I figured I could memorize each part while they're doing him. I could memorize another section. He says, no, we're going to do a walk and talk. We're going to do it all in one take. And then we're going to put you in this car. And a car pulls up next to the camera because we were in a junkyard outside. Car pulls up. He says, and then we're going to put you in the car and we're going to send you home. One take. And you go home. Great. Well, and you're going to do a great job. Okay. I go, okay. So you anything wrong? Because he noticed I was going, okay. I mean, he could read my body language.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't. He said, everything okay? I think, yeah. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. So, all right, get out there, and then walk to the camera. When you walk to the camera, it's over. In the car, you go home. Okay. Get out there. Ready, Larry? Yeah. And I just said to myself, just keep talking. Don't stutter. Don't say, just keep your tongue and talking. That's all. That's all you got to do. Just keep talking. Okay, and action. And blah, 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 blah. I'm just making it up, man. I just make it up. Based on this, okay, cut and I'm thinking, you're fired. Cut and okay, we're gonna just do one more take just for insurance, and then in the car, you're going home. Okay, get back down there. All right, re-rack. Let's go. And I go, holy cow, man! I memorized it. No, because I asked the lady who the script girl, the script woman.
Mhm.
I said, that was pretty cool. I said to her, patting myself on the back. I got away with it.
Yeah.
I said, that was pretty cool, huh? She says, no. And then as I'm walking back, she's walking with me, and she says, and she shows me the book, and every word in the written speech was circled. And she said, the director wants you to do it this time as written. So I go, I want to talk to the writer. And she said, the director wrote this speech. So in other words, he knew all along I was making it up. He wrote it. He knew, I wasn't saying it. I was just blowing. So I go, holy cow, man. He bought it. So now I can improvise it again because he knows I don't know it. But he seemed to be okay with it. So when I did it again, okay, so what happened was in the editing room, they just took the two improvised versions and made one long speech.
Splice it together, yeah.
And I'm in this scene, actually, visually, 10 seconds. Every time I said one line right, they cut to me. It takes 2 seconds to say one line right. Rose, hyper on two. No, that's another show. But whatever I said, you can't go in there because of the law. That takes 2-3 seconds to say. They cut to me 3 times. So that's about 9 or 10 seconds. And the rest is my voiceover, and they just stayed on the 3. They stayed on the cop or Aaron or Brian. So there you go. Another way, capturing lightning in a bottle. Acting is not what you think, man. I never thought in a million years I'd have enough chutzpah to improvise and not tell anybody, and that they would buy it, that they would use it, and that I didn't get fired. I mean, but it took me years to learn what you could get away with, what you can't get away with,
right?
What you could bargain, and that's what my book is about. Those moments of, do I do it their way or I do it my way, and which way is better, and you find out what you can get away with, what you can't get away with. But things like that happen all the time. The things that you can't learn in acting school. It's just what you learn by doing it a lot. Which, you know the old joke, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Oh.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, Larry. I appreciate it. Definitely love the stories there, the lightning in the bottle, capturing it. I wish you could do more right now, but we will have you back on when you get that book out. We'll plug that away, and we'll tell more stories. I'm sure maybe there's something you can talk about as far as the movie I remember you from was it Billy Madison?
Oh, Billy Madison, Escape from Alcatraz, all the long parts.
Yeah,
the longer parts.
But I first remember you
Billy
as
Madison is really cool. I mean, I didn't enjoy working with Adam because he's just a control freak. But other than that,
I just remember you as Crazy Carl from there.
Yeah.
But also eating the Triscuit crackers and all that stuff. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But
okay, cool.
So much more meat on the bone. I definitely would love to have another conversation down the line. It was a pleasure having you on this time. And for everybody listening at home, I appreciate it. Thank you. Fuck you and good night.
Okay. Thank you, man.
Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.